Option 1. Strengthen the current partnership among equals. Keep the Articles of Confederation and Perpetual Union in place and amend them. The Articles are too weak as they now stand, according to this option, but they are worth keeping and should be improved. This Constitution was strong enough to hold us together during a war against the strongest nation on earth. Now that the crisis of war is behind us, we must develop ways of making sure the states live up to their commitments. There also needs to be a way to fund these activities of the central government and to mediate conflicts between states. People who have this option feel we were too cautious when we intentionally created our weak central government. While this made sense given our history with Great Britain, the past decade has shown us that we must have a greater accountability among Confederation members. In addition, we need to figure out a way to fund the appropriate activities of the central government and to create a means for resolving squabbles between states if this League of Friendship is to continue. This option priority is to maintain and improve the Confederation of States by improving how the partnership operates. The current one state, one vote rule in the Confederation Congress guarantees that we are a union of equal members. However, states must be held accountable, not only in Congress, but to our own agreements with each other. Oh, yeah.
Ensure accountability. Poor attendance is hampering the Confederation Congress' ability to do its work. For example, when the Treaty of Paris, which formally ended our war with Britain, was sent to Congress in 1783, it was not considered for weeks because there weren't enough delegates present for a quorum. Critical work related to our security, stability, and prosperity is continually put off. There need to be appropriate consequences for absenteeism. First on the list of reforms should be an attendance policy. This option holds that we should not accommodate bad behavior by delaying votes or rescheduling meetings. If delegates neglect their responsibilities, this should result in the loss of their state's vote on legislation being considered. This will allow those present to do their jobs and will provide adequate punishment for those who shirk. We also need to develop a more nimble process for amending the Articles of Confederation. We are a young republic, and our needs will change over time. We have already tried to amend the Articles, but efforts have always failed, twice due to the veto of a single state. The current requirement for a unanimous vote should be replaced with a 2/3 majority, or 9 out of 13 states. This is what is required for all other important legislative decisions, even declaring war, yet a single state can block an amendment. This allows one state to stop the progress of the entire Union, even if every other state is in agreement.
Provide for a loyal and effective defense. Those in favor of strengthening the Confederation say we must be prepared to defend ourselves against aggression from other nations and in territorial battles with Indian tribes. Because most men's loyalties lie with their states, we should establish a national militia of citizen soldiers. This would not be a central army, but a cooperative force. Each state would have a quota, roughly based on population, as well as can be determined. While the states will contribute the soldiers, their salaries and provisions will be paid for by the Confederation. In this way, everyone is guaranteed compensation, and soldiers' loyalties will be more evenly divided between their states and their central government. Of course, each state will also continue to maintain its own militia, comprised of citizen soldiers sufficient for its own protection. These various units may also form alliances with other states or support the national militia as needed to face foreign threats, as we done during the Revolution.
Pay for defense and mail with tariffs. During the Revolution, soldiers were poorly equipped and were not compensated in a timely manner. Since so many soldiers preferred to serve their state militias, the Continental Army offered enticements, including bonuses, offers of free land after the war, and pensions for officers. But these promises were broken. After acrimonious negotiations, sometimes verging on mutiny, soldiers finally received back pay, and officers were only given 5 years of full pay, instead of the pensions of half pay for life they had been promised. To prevent the threat of future mutinies, this view argues that the Confederation Congress must be given the authority to raise the money needed to support its militia by imposing tariffs on foreign trade. The monies from these tariffs could also be used to pay off any remaining war debt. Everyone, but especially businesses, the army, and settlers on the frontier, depend on the post office for the timely conveyance of vital information. It is one of the only ways to stay connected. The articles specify that Congress has the sole and exclusive right and power of establishing or regulating post offices from one state to another throughout all the United States, and exacting such postage on the papers passing through the same as may yet be requisite to defray the expenses of said office. Yet this essential service is chronically underfunded. So this option holds that a portion of the tariffs collected by the Confederation Congress should be used to better fund and expand the postal service. Congress should establish a common exchange rate and a standard system of weights and measures so that the tariffs are equitably levied. While Congress will be required to use these standards, the states should be free to use them or opt out as they wish.
Minimize confusion and conflict among the states. In the current article, states are prohibited from forming treaties with each other, yet the mechanism for resolving differences concerning interstate trade and boundary disputes is elaborate and rarely used. Too often, competition breeds hostility. Those who favor this option say there should be a neutral third party to resolve state disputes. Furthermore, clearly established boundaries, both internal between the states and along the western frontier, will increase everyone's security and foster economic expansion. Therefore, we should amend the articles to create a court for arbitration comprised of judges from each of the 13 states to resolve interstate commerce and border disputes. The basic principles should be established by the Confederation Congress, but this court should act independently from the Congress. For example, each state could appoint 2 judges for 5-year terms. The judges from the plaintiff states should recuse themselves from any cases involving their states. What we could do.
Here's a summary of what should be done so the Articles of Confederation will work more effectively. 1. Develop an attendance policy that, if violated, will result in the loss of a state's ability to vote on the legislation being considered in that congressional session.
2. Require a 2/3 majority, not the current unanimous one, for approval of amendments to the Articles of Confederation, as is the case with the important legislative decisions.
3. Establish a national militia of citizen soldiers drawn from states to protect the territories and our merchants.
4. Give the Confederation Congress a limited right to impose tariffs to support Confederation activities, including a national militia, the post office, and a court of arbitration.
5. Support the establishment of common exchange rates and a standard system of weights and measures for use by the Confederation.
6. Create a joint judicial system for arbitrating interstate commerce and border disputes.